Good day, everyone. My name is Ray Alagon, and my report for today is all about the sources of Filipino thoughts. Before we go through our discussion, allow me to present to you the objectives of our lesson. At the end of this module, the learners will be able to define Filipino thoughts, identify the sources of Filipino thoughts, explain where these sources come from. Now, for the definition of Filipino thoughts, I understand that Sir Ed Aldad already discussed this in his report. Let me just read through it. Filipino thought in general is a person's consciousness of his own life and his world, his society and his gods in the light of truth, and thereby realize his proper being. Now, there are two basic stages of Filipino thoughts. There is what we call as vital, and the other one is reflexive. Vital thought, by which immediate experience attains a preliminary structuration and verbalization by way of myth, ritual, song and language, folk tale, traditional sayings and aphorisms, customary legal, political, and religious codes. While a reflexive thought is more mediate, whether conscious or unconscious, analyzing, systemizing, and justifying a vital thought that has reached a high point of growth and therefore of conflict, thereby demanding a reintegration, a critical evaluation of its boundaries and particular strengths in view of the ulterior possibilities of man. In the next discussion, you'll be seeing the sources of Filipino thoughts based on my research. What I would like everyone to do is to also go through my written report because it is where you will find a more comprehensive and thorough discussion on each sources of Filipino thoughts. As a general description, the distinct value system of Filipinos is rooted primarily in personal alliance systems, especially those based in the following. So there's what we call as kinship. Kinship is a system of social organization based on real or putative family ties, and it is one of the most important organizing components of the society. So kinship can be your relationship towards another person, especially within your family. We also have obligation. It is the moral or legal duty that requires an individual to perform as well as the potential penalties for the failure to perform. So one of the sources of Filipino thoughts is our responsibility not just to ourselves, but to our family and to our community. That is our obligation. Next is friendship. Friendship is about sharing the things we care about, and this is essential to ethics and to having a good life, and may also have conflicts between obligations of one person to another when it comes to morality. So why is friendship a source of Filipino thought? It's because it's how you care about a person, where your values would actually come from. We also have religion, and most particularly Christianity. So religious beliefs also shape many kinds of values that citizens hold. Social values such as about homosexuality, women's roles, the nature of good and evil, and family and marriage have strong connections to religiosity. As we all know, most of our Filipino values are really based on our preachings from the Bible or from the preachings of what's really good and bad when it comes to our religion. And lastly is our commercial relationships. It is everything that a customer has contracted for compared to their actual purchase, usage and billing history, and it is critical for everyone across your organization to know about your customer. So in a business itself, because as Filipinos, we're more of a business-minded individual, so our values also come from how we value our customers. So there. Aside from the different sources of Filipino thoughts, I also have, or I also took the liberty to give some sample Filipino values and where it actually roots from. The first sample that I have here is being family oriented. The basic and most important unit of a Filipino's life is the family. Filipinos who turn 18 are not expected to move out of their parents' home, and when a Filipino's parents are old and cannot take care of themselves, they are cared for in their children's homes and are very rarely brought by their children to homes for the aged. If you've noticed, we have a lot of homes here in the Philippines that is extended. Extended, that means from the parent, and then their kids will also have their own family who will live in the same house, and their family's family live in their parents' house. We also have flexibility or adaptability and creativity. Filipinos often have an aversion to a set of standardized rules or procedures, and they are known to follow a natural clock or organic sense of time, doing things in the time they feel is right. As you've also noticed, this is where our Filipino time would actually root from. We also have Filipinos being hardworking and resourceful. I hope that you agree with this. With resourcefulness comes hard work. Filipinos are very determined and persevering in accomplishing whatever they set their minds to. So even if there are a lot of projects like in this subject for Philippine value system and even in the other subjects that we have for this summer, and if we're only given a very short period of time to accomplish it, however we wanted to react on it, and if we are able to just set our goals towards what we want to achieve, we are able to do it because we are all hardworking and we are all resourceful. Even if we don't have an internet connection, we actually find ways. Next is being joyful and humorous. So joy and humor. These famous traits are the ability of Filipinos to find humor in everything. Filipino optimism shines in whatever situation they are in to remain determined in going through struggles or challenges. Have you also noticed that there are a lot of memes initiated by most Filipinos? And also, even if Filipinos actually go through a lot of challenges, what you will also notice on social media when someone is struck by an earthquake or a flood, you still are going to see a lot of pictures of Filipinos smiling and even making fun of the situation. We also have being religious and pious, or religious and piety. The greater chunk of the population are Christians, mostly Roman Catholics, then Muslims, and few percent for other religions. And lastly, hospitality. Foreigners who come to visit the Philippines speak of Filipinos going out of their way to help them when lost, or the heartwarming generosity of a Filipino family hosting a visitor in their poverty-stricken home. This is also one of the many reasons why a lot of Filipino women, or not just women, but most foreigner retirees would actually come here in the Philippines because of us being hospitable. And they would want to be taken care of by us Filipinos because of how we are able to do it. So those are my sample Filipino values and where it root from. And the conclusion of my report is that our Filipino values are ours. It may be affected by where it originated from, but we decide on these values and live with these values as we walk through life to live in peace and in content. Once again, this is Ray Alagon, and I am your reporter for today. For further discussions, and if you have any questions and clarifications, please make sure to post it in our Google Classroom. Have a good day, everyone.